Hello, everybody. Coming up, a former U.S. Labor Secretary and Mobile native has died. We'll tell you about her. Plus, a Santa Rosa County woman is found guilty of premeditated murder. And part of a cathedral in the Immaculate Conception of downtown Mobile is closed. Find out why. We have those stories and more coming up. It's time for News 5 Now.
Brought to you by Green & Phillips, covering news from your neighborhood and around the world. News 5 Now starts right now.
Hello, everyone. I'm Akivia McFarland. Thank you so much for joining us for News 5 Now. Every day we get together at 5:30. We go over the big stories that we're following you for the day. We talk about your answers to our question of the day. Today's question is pretty interesting, and we see how you voted in our Facebook poll as well. It's always a good time to get together like this. So as always, let's go ahead and kick things off with the big stories that we're following for you right now, beginning with number 5. Former U.S. Labor Secretary and Mobile native Alexis Herman has died. Before becoming Labor Secretary, she served as the head of the Women's Bureau at the Labor Department under President Jimmy Carter, becoming the youngest woman to do so. As the Secretary of Labor, she supported raising the minimum wage and worked to enforce strict child labor standards. In 1974, Herman was named the Queen for the Mobile Area Mardi Gras Association. She was 77 years old. Number 4, Florida House lawmakers have ended their investigation into a nonprofit founded by Florida's First Lady. State Representative Alex Andrade of Pensacola announced their work is done and it's up to the FBI to investigate further. Lawmakers have been investigating a money trail that connects Hope, Florida, to a political action committee which was used to fight the legalization of marijuana. House members believe the state's attorney general was calling the shots and illegally moving the cash around. The decision to end the investigation comes after several officials refused to be questioned by state lawmakers. Number 3, a Santa Rosa County woman found guilty of murder. In 2023, Colby Vinson was shot and killed by Rachel Moore's former stepfather, Jason Curtis, as Vinson was arriving home with he and Moore's 4-year-old child. Vinson had been granted shared custody of the child earlier that week. Moore communicated with Curtis throughout that week, providing him with enough information so he could locate and kill Vinson. A Santa Rosa County jury found Moore guilty of premeditated murder and tampering with evidence. Moore was immediately sentenced to life in prison without parole. Number 2, fish are flying across the Alabama-Florida state line. The first day of the annual Interstate Mullet Toss at the Floribama Lounge has wrapped up. Every year, thousands of people try to see who can throw a dead mullet the farthest. The event continues tomorrow and Sunday. It costs $20 to toss a mullet, with the proceeds benefiting youth charities. And number 1, part of the Cathedral of Immaculate Conception in downtown Mobile is closed because of termites. The Archdiocese says there is extensive damage to the back of the church. This area includes the sacristy, the room where priests prepare for Mass, and where items used for religious services are stored. Now, crews have been hired to fix the issue. Masses will continue on their normal schedule. So those are the big stories that we're following for you at this hour. Of course, stay up to date on those stories with WKRG throughout the evening. But now it's time to go ahead and jump into that question of the day. And here's our question for you. Who have you seen in concert that you thought was disappointing? Who did you spend that good hard-earned money on and wish you would have just checked them out on YouTube instead? All right, let's go ahead and see what some of your answers were. All right, so right at the top, we have Peggy Goodwin saying Reba, she changed her clothes more than she actually performs. Okay. We have Yodi Adkins says Hank Jr. years ago, he was so drunk he couldn't sing. We left after he threw his drinks on his drummer. Wow, that's certainly a spectacle there. All right, let's see. Let's keep going. Keith F. Bryant says Leonard Skinner at the Wharf '07. Every song sounded just like on the radio. He says Jimmy Buffett in Pensacola in 84 or 85, and it's the only show that he ever walked out of. Okay, let's keep it going. I'm really sorry to hear that y'all were so disappointed by these artists, though. This does not bring me joy, by the way, just so we're clear on this, but we're talking about it. All right. Aline Steele Trombley says, and I'm sorry if I butcher your name, Tony Bennett, he can sing but put me to sleep. Jeanette Turner says, Aerosmith, I mean, they are getting old, and Steven can't hit those notes like he used to. Okay, let's keep on going. We'll read just a couple of more. This doesn't bring me joy to know that you guys were disappointed by these artists and these groups that we love so much. Charlie Neal says the Rolling Stones. Okay. Amanda Turner Minga says Faith Hill and Tim McGraw. They both seem bored with little stage presence. Now, I will say, when you're going to a concert, you do like to see someone, really put on a show. Otherwise, like I said, to my point, my little joke earlier is that you can just catch them on YouTube. You can just or listen to the audio if you're not going to put on an actual show if we're showing up for that. So I can understand why you might be disappointed with that one. All right, let's go through just a couple of more, and then we're gonna wrap this one up. All right, let's see. Someone said, Courtney Amador says the Chainsmokers. And let's go just a couple more, one more. Let's see. Someone else said the same thing about Reba. Too many outfit changes. She wants to show you what she's working with, y'all. Like she's got some nice clothes. She wants to put on a show for you that way. Put on a fashion show, if you will. All right, let's see. Who else do we have here? Okay, this is different. I actually was looking for something like this because I can relate a little bit more to this era. Rayleigh Marie Anderson says, not a concert, but a comedy show, Kevin Hart. She thought Kevin Hart was a little bit disappointing. And I'm not going to point fingers or name any names because I don't want to be that person. But I have been to a comedy show that was underwhelming, to say the least. I, again, won't say who, but I definitely did doze off. Now, I will say it was after a long day of work and after a nice, comfy dinner, but I did fall asleep on that show. And at a comedy show, I should be in stitches. You should not have me falling asleep. So I do relate to that one. Won't say who, but I did fall asleep on that show. But I enjoyed the time I did see Kevin Hart. That was a good time. Well, thank you all for participating in our question of the day. Now we need to switch gears and go ahead and see how we voted in that Facebook poll. We want to know, are you watching the NFL draft? It comes as no surprise to me that 62% of you say yes, while 38% of you say no. Some people love the NFL. Some people are indifferent, so this does not really surprise me. Thank you so much for participating and answering the question. But you know what time it is. I got to send you away with some homework. I got some things for you to do. Need you to go over to WKRG, go to our Facebook page, give us a thumbs up, give us a like. Like, just hit that button really, really hard if you haven't done it already. We need to know that you love us. And go ahead and answer our next question of the day, too. If you could choose your last meal, what would it be? I expect to see some interesting answers there. And vote in our next Facebook poll, too. What do you think of the volleyball Jesus statue in Gulf Shores? So you have all weekend long to go ahead and answer these questions, and we'll come right back here come Monday, and we'll see what you had to say for that question of the day and for the Facebook poll. We are looking forward to it, so please make sure you're chiming in all weekend long, and we'll check those out for you. So in the meantime, we're just a few minutes away from WKRG News 5 at 6. You got plenty of time to heat up your dinner, pop some popcorn, do what you need to do, but you need to make sure that your TV is turned on to Channel 5 so you can catch WKRG News 5 at 6 to keep up with your local news, the big stories that we'll continue following for you throughout the evening. So as always, guys, thank you so much for joining us for WKRG News 5 Now. It's always a pleasure. Catch you next time.
Covering news from your neighborhood and around the world. You are watching News 5 Now, brought to you by Green & Phillips.